Hi, it's Peggy from the Pearl Forest, and today we're going to work on some journal covers. I have a number of upcoming journals, so I'm going to try to get down 10 of them assembled and ready to sew, but will not be sewing them on video. I'm going to use Fabrifix for the fabric glue. I have my sewing scissors. I have a little silicone, kind of like a brush, but it's flat to help press down the Fabrifix if I need to into the fabric. I have a number of cover sets here, and I have a number of mailing envelopes. They are 9 by 12. So the first thing we do is we peel these off and seal the envelopes. So let's just go through and seal them all so that they're ready for us. This is much nicer with the peel and stick than having to moisten them or glue them or any of that kind of thing. It's also nicer to do if you don't have envelopes with the little metal clasp. If you do, I recommend that you take off the metal clasp so it doesn't poke through your fabric or whatever material you're using to damage your cover. Now you do have this edge here that has this folded over and this folded over, and so we want the nice full smooth side to be the outside of our covers. So once again, we don't have uneven spaces, or not space, surfaces under our material. Okay, I have 20 envelopes to make 10 journal covers. I hope you're having a great day. Oops, our little fussy cats are trying to join us. I've had a great day. It's a relaxing day today. I'm not sure exactly which journals we're going to start with. Kind of depends on the pages and the ephemera. And we may work some on several of them overlapping. I don't know. I'm kind of new to doing a whole bunch of them at once, so I'm gonna have to feel my way around, and I don't know if I'll necessarily make the best decisions. We'll see. We'll kind of do it together. Okay, so we have our envelopes. I'm gonna pop them back here and just take one out for the moment. This one I have paired this woven fabric, kind of a Peru, Ecuador, that kind of region of the world, and I've paired it with this purple solid color, so which will be the inside. We could start with either one, but let's start with this. Now I know this isn't ironed. It will glue out. The other thing to note is, let's see, we want to do this. We don't want to get glue right next to the edge because we're going to be sewing there, and we don't want extra glue for our thread to have to go through. Ideally, it would be better if these were ironed. Next time I will probably do that. I'm not like some people that just don't ever want to iron. I don't mind ironing. Okay, so what we do then, and by the way, I came up with this little hack that might help you. I decided to delineate my fabric scissors so they're not used for anything else, because these I'm using for fabric, is I decided to put a tie of fabric on them. So it's clear to me, and hopefully others, that they are for fabric only. So we're going to cut a little bit off the corner. We'll save these for clusters. Just a little bit of an angled off to the side. I don't like to get too close to the corner, as I don't want them to be exposed when we wrap this. Okay. Should take note of the time. I know my video lengths have varied greatly. I'd like to eventually get that a little more uniform, but not yet. Okay, so here's our fabric. Oh, I haven't achieved it yet is what I'm trying to say. Here's our fabric fix. I think we'll get out a pin in case we need it to make sure this flows. Okay, now so I don't want to be really close to the edge, but I need to be far enough in that the fabric will stick. You can see that it would be better if I had more light. Our light tonight is not really good. There's a lot of shadows, and I apologize for that. There we go. We're starting to come out. I think I need to come up with a task light for my work area. So we wrap this around enough to get it in the glue. But like I said, you don't want to get the glue, whoops, that is there. You don't want to get the glue right next to the edge where you're going to sew a zigzag line in a little bit. Let's see, do we get that laying out flat, hopefully? Okay, we'll put some on this side. And you want to pull it snug, but not so tight that you're bending your paper. You just want it to lay flat. Okay. Let's take a peek. So we are getting it smoothed out. Might be a little puckery here. Hopefully that'll smooth down. Okay, now we go along this way. Even I can't see very good in this shadow. I have pulled in a portable lamp, but I don't know where it is. We're just gonna have to do our best here. Okay. This seems to be not flowing as well as I would like. A little trick, I have a piece of cardboard to the side that I'm sticking my pin in. That's probably more than we need. So we'll be sewing right along this like 1/4 of an inch. So we want to get beyond that. Make sure we have this pulled nicely. So this will be the inside of our journal. And we could add a pocket of fabric or lace or such, but with this batch, we're not going to do that. So I'm going to set this aside, kind of back over this way, and get out another one. And we have this one. This is the back of the fabric, and this is the front. And so we want this side up. Now this piece is not real long. I did plan to leave this hanging out so we can put it close to that edge. So let's see if we, oops, if we just put a little tiny, of course this might be kind of where I'm sewing, so we don't want it thick at all because it could hamper the needle. So if we center it this way, pull this out straight. Oops. Kind of tricky here to get it. This doesn't look like it wants to have enough room to wrap around. I think I've cut this one a little small. Okay. Wonder if these are gonna fringe also. Just having a little think here, whether I maybe just want to leave it with the edges out and put this on and then later fringe it. So if I'm gonna do that, it's kind of wet here. I think what I'll do is put just a little bit along this, oops, along this fabric here so it won't go beyond, like a fray check sort of with the Fabrifix. I think some fringes around this one would be kind of nice. So I'm just kind of trying to run a little bit of a bead of Fabrifix along here, along the threads. Like that. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is put a little bit in the middle and run my bottle through it to make sure that it's not thick in any way. And the purpose of this is just to temporarily stick this together before I sew. Whoops, we're off a little bit. You don't want the white showing. And I could run an iron over this fabric before or after I sew it too. So this one will have these big fringes, and then it'll have little bits of fringes around the edge. Okay, so that's one cover. This set here, I'm planning to make a cat journal with these balls of yarn in very neutral colors and sort of a golden brown for the back. So we'll kind of center it on here and snip our corners again. I'm pulling it to the edge here so I can get my scissors in easily. I kind of chose these journal covers to be my next ones I'm making based on a lot of the ephemera that I have that's been coming up and being made or found or etc. Thought that made sense because then I will have things to put in them. So I thought this would be a good place to start with a batch to show you. Okay, so I put a little bit of Fabrifix on out of our sewing range and wrap the fabric around. Make sure that's snug. Put some more glue on. Don't think there was much glue there. Are you getting any? I have the handicap that you have of whether you can see the glue. Oh, the things you learn as you start to do stuff like this. Like, I really needed a camera stand as opposed to what I was at first using. I needed to, I need to get better light. I needed a clock to keep track of how long I was filming. There's still a lot of things that I'm working on and figuring it out, and I thank you very much for those that have been here since the beginning for being patient as I figure these things out. And hopefully what I'm sharing is useful to you, either directly or indirectly, or just enjoying to watch and share my journey. I like this fabric because it's very neutral, so you can pair it with all kinds of different colors or stay mostly neutral. By knowing what I have, it's actually not going to stay neutral, but it could. Because I've done a lot of different crafts, one of the things I've done is quilting. And one of the things I'm paring down is fabric, so I have a lot of quilting fabric. And I actually have processed them down into journal covers that are waiting for journals. That's part of my using it up. They might become part of journal kits. They might become part of journals. They might also be cut down into smaller things like fabric flips or whatever else that I might do. Okay, here's this one. It does have quite a wrinkle here, but it'll go down. Let's see if there's anything in the way here to get out. I'm getting a lot of glue on my hands. I'm not using my little spatula, am I? That might help instead of my fingers. Been collecting a lot of things for clusters, whether it's fabric or paper or trims. So that will be an upcoming video. Stuff like this that I save. I know you can make fabric clusters and you can also make paper ones. I think that the ones that I'll be making soon very likely are going to be a mixture. I don't see any reason why they have to be just fabric or just paper. So like this scrap could be in a cluster with paper, it could be lace, it could be whatever you'd like to add. Okay, this one is shorter, so I'm going to do this side first. Try to get this closer, but still try to stay out of my sewing area and also keep it flat. Oops, cluster. The silicone brush, so to speak, is useful in that it the glue doesn't stick to it, so you don't get it all over your hands. Some of this is not sticking down, but sometimes I feel like I have better control with my hands because I can feel it, so I can know whether it's sealing or not. I'm hoping to get these journal covers sewn soon so we can start their signatures and other parts. My problem at the moment is my sewing machine, my regular one, is not working well. So I either have to get it working or I need to find a substitute for it. I could sew around these by hand. I've done that before. It's not ideal. I don't think this is coming out. It works, but it doesn't. It has a whole different look, and it's hard to get uniform. And if you don't want it to be uniform, that's fine. But I think if you're having a slow stitched cover, I think it works fine. If you're having solid fabric, I think it looks better to be machine sewed. I've also thought about gluing seam binding around the edge, because I think that could be an interesting look as well. Now you could consider whether you want to have lace with your album, in which case you can put it in between your layers. I think that we'll, in this first batch, we'll not do that. Okay, so here's our cover here. I don't think that it has an up or a down, but I kind of like that as the up for some reason. And this, kind of feel like that is nice for the up. So let's just put a little glue on here. It's not really coming out. Come on. Now let's see, that is definitely a little glue. So we just line these up, put them together like this, and then when we sew a zigzag around the edge, then they'll be hooked together and then we can fold them. So we'll set that one aside. Let's make sure this is still staying clear. I'm not going to put the lid on because it's not a long of enough period of time in between. Okay, so this one is a fall one, and this is the inside that I've picked to go with that one. So I'll put this on here. This one has much larger edge. I think as I went along cutting them, if I was able, I started making them slightly bigger just to make it easier to wrap them around the envelope. And sometimes it was just the edge of the fabric, like we might have some that we have excess, which like this one kind of is. I could have took off this edge and made like a tie for a tag. At this moment I'm not, because I've already started cutting the corners and stuff, but that's one thing I thought about doing when I left it on. Okay, let's see if we can get this to flow. Come on. This stuff also has fumes, so you want to have ventilation. You don't want to be just in a little room with this. Oops. We're not quite hitting the glue all along here, at least not at this end. Okay, kind of pull this snug. And I could put it along this edge. We could try that if I can get it on there. So I'm going along the edge of the fabric, kind of, what would you call it? I don't know, tab or something. I always think of with fall, there's the various fall colors, but you can have like an emphasis on orange or red or brown or greens or what you want. But this is, looks like, plus this, we're kind of going with more of a red orange. I kind of like that on the edge of the fabric, because for sure we touch it then. We can pull it up and smooth it down, pulling it snug. Gets it secure. So by putting these together like this, you're getting these in here, and then when they're sewn, those edges are sealed and they're tacked down with the glue. And then they're also tacked down with the sewing. So it makes for a very sturdy journal cover. Some people like to go back and I'm going to tuck this. Well, maybe I'll just cut it a little bit more. It seems like it's out too far. I'm not getting glue on my scissors. They like to go back and use metal book corners to look like the envelope was showing, but that fabric is actually white right there. To help strengthen the corners, you can put metal book corners on. I'm not going to do that myself, but if somebody buys a journal from me, they can always easily add it later if they choose to. Okay, so there's this cover with leaves and a rake and actually the name of the fabric that person made. Okay, then we have this one. And let's try that one where I talked about how we could save part of it. I don't think we need that much there. So if we took, say, this much off, we could use this for a tag topper, or two maybe. No, maybe one. I have some fall things up here, so I'll just stick that up there. Okay, so we'll move this fringes out of the way. We'll move this back centered and then snip the corners. So if I see that I have excess that I don't need, I might do that. And then have handy a tag topper that might be used in this journal. I mean, if if possible, I would put it in the same journal because it would tie to it. Got these strings. Okay. My fingers are getting so gluey. All right, so I like this new method of putting glue on the fabric itself. That seems to work good, and it keeps it away from where I'm sewing. So I like that. So let's smooth this out. Pull it kind of tight, but then also use our silicone and our hand to smush it down sealed, and then kind of pull this out tight. And I'm going opposites when you're pulling fabric around like a canvas or a seat chair or that kind of thing. It's always good to go opposites, and this is like that. That's kind of where I learned it, but it's good for stuff like this because you then get the tension equally spaced. You're not going, say, around, then I think you could end up crooked. This is kind of scribbly marks, but it sort of reminds me of writing. Okay, so we're gonna tighten that up as we go on this one. Put them down here. Now this is, I'm getting some on my table. This is our third one? I think so. So we still got 7 more to go. We need to pick up our pace here. Okay, put that down. And when we go to do the signature of whatever, I just kind of tuck that under a little bit to tighten up the corner. When I start the first journal, I'll show this covers too, so you can see how they turned out. And we might choose signature pages for more than one at a time if we come across something. I mean, why not pull them at that time? And I can just start a bin or a bag or something for a journal. Then I have a place to put things. Come on. This isn't wanting to glue down. Am I not getting glue on it? Seems like I'm not. This one needs to be folded in a little bit so it lays flat here. Okay, I stretch that out. See, the wrinkles pretty much go away. Okay, do you want it that way or this way? I think this is how I would like it to be up. And this I'd like to be the cover. So put them together this way. You want to make sure that you get the two pieces together the way that you want. Smooth this out. Okay. So that's that set. Now This is a snowman, snow one, and I've paired it with these blue sparkly stars. So let's get another envelope out, and let's do the snowman first. Okay, here we have plenty again. So I think we'll take a little bit off, just about enough to make a tag topper. They can be thinner or thicker. That did not want to go across there. I wonder if that was cut in there a little bit. Let's just cut this. Okay, those can also be on a fabric flip, or if nothing else, they can be on a cluster. So versatile as to what we're going to do with them. Okay, we kind of center this, snip our corners. I'm a little bit behind on my videos right now. So this one I'm doing is actually in the evening, and it needs to upload tonight for tomorrow. So I'm kind of cutting it close, but I do have some others already in the works. With still sorting things out, and other life things you have to just kind of work around. I've been trying to stick to my new recording schedule, so you can expect what's coming. That Mondays will be adding color to paper for that series we're doing, and Wednesdays are Use It Up, and Fridays are journals. And then other things I'll just add in here and there. At least that's what we're working with at the moment. Getting a lot of glue here. I hope that helps you to find what you're interested in seeing, if you're selective or if you're looking for something. I do put them in a playlist schedule, so if you get to a point where you want to go back and see a Use It Up or a journal or something, you can find what you want. And you may be somebody who's watching me now, but then you might be somebody in the future that's new, and so you won't know about the older ones, and it'll help you go back and find something that you might be interested in that you didn't see before. It's my goal that I hope it can be helpful. I enjoy helping people, and I enjoy sharing and teaching. So hopefully I can be of help to you. Okay. These snowmen look, to me, they look very happy, jolly looking. Okay, we need to tuck this corner in a little bit. Can kind of fold this so we get the corner mitered good. I think this one maybe a tad also. There's enough glue there that they're sticking down. Okay, nope, we don't want the glue on there yet because we need to do the back, or the inside actually is what it is. So do we want, I guess it doesn't really matter, but we just want to put this one on. Don't matter about up or down at the moment. Okay, this once again is too big. I think I'm going to get rid of this foldy piece for the most part because it'll help it lay down, and I just think it's too much. And I think also this is too much. So we'll shorten it down as well. Those can be tags. So I'm going to do some seasons of gratitude is kind of the theme. They can be just general journals, they can be gratitude, they can be thankful, they can just be having to do with a certain season you really like. And you can decide how to use them yourself. So I'm making some that are a mix of seasons, and then I'm making some that are more a particular season, like the fall and the winter. The kind of woven Peruvian one is going to be the mixture one. I hope I did not cut that too short at that corner. We kind of moved. I think that'll work. Okay. Put on our glue. I should just lay this down on its side, and it'll keep the glue down here. We'll try that. Hopefully it doesn't leak out. I like this blue sparkly star. I think the sparkles remind me of snow in the air. I was trying to remember something. Somebody was telling me a date I needed to remember for something, and I thought there's something having to do with that date, so I think I should be able to remember that. And I just now remembered it's going to be our first frost date that they're estimating. So even looks more like frost when you have these little sparklies. Snowy frost. Get these extra stings out of the way, but if they're stuck in the middle here, it doesn't matter. They'll just be glued in the middle of our book. They're kind of following me on my fingers. Okay, tuck this in. Well, let's do the middle and then we'll get to the corners. Pull that snug. It's kind of a handicap when you start getting really gluey fingers, because then you start sticking to everything. Even the stuff you don't want to stick to. Okay, so take off a little glue. Now I want to tuck this in, folding it, and then lay it down. Okay. Pretty good. Now we'll get this end. Got another string here, which is now stuck to the glue on my fingers. Speaking of glue, we have it coming out of the bottle. Probably shouldn't have wiped the bottle off before I did this, because now I have it stuck to my fingers. Okay, so this one, kind of like dark down, it just seems more grounded, balanced. So we'll put it down. Move these lumps out. Okay, so we want the snowman to be down. By using the envelopes, you end up with, you know, a uniform size for both of them. See, don't they look happy? I just think they're happy and having a good time. Okay, there's that one. Now our next one is insects. It'll be an insect journal. We have dragonflies, grasshoppers, butterflies, and ladybugs. And inside I've paired it with a purple flower. So let's see on this one. Get these extra strings out. And I don't think I need to trim this one, so I'll leave it as it is. Try to get the strings off though. Between static and my glue, they don't want to go anywhere. Okay, so we'll trim the corner, slight angle, trim this corner, sorry, grasshopper. Now chopping your head off. Thankfully you're only fabric, because I'd hate to do that to a real grasshopper. I haven't seen any of those in the last few weeks, but we did have a lot of those recently. I'm cutting up a butterfly. Speaking of that, I haven't seen any of those recently. Definitely have signs of winter coming before long. I think it's going to be a short fall and an early winter. But the bad news of that, I don't know if you have animals in your area like deer and things like that, but that's not sad. I enjoy seeing them. Check my corners, see that we're still online. And I like seeing the little baby deer with their moms, usually when they're alongside the road or crossing the road, so we have to be careful of that. But the sad part is in the last month or two, I have seen brand new baby deer. And this I'm filming in October, including, I believe I saw one last week or earlier this week that wasn't much larger than my dog. I didn't see it close enough to see, you know, its spots, although I've seen several with young with spots. But this one was so small, it had to be very young. And October is not when deer have babies. So things seem to be a little out of sequence this year. I hope that baby can survive, because like I said, it feels like winter is coming soon. And that baby is so young that it's going to be really hard for that mama to keep that baby safe. So, I hope so. We have a lot of wildlife in our area, and it's enjoyable to see them when they're just behaving themselves. I thankfully haven't seen them not behaving themselves, but I know that they naturally have things they do. An interesting story is that my neighbor earlier this year, I saw a picture of her yard with her chickens, and there was a bobcat in her yard with her chickens just running around in her yard, and it was just sitting there hanging out like it was normal to do. I don't know if he was casing the joint for later or whether he just wanted to hang out with some chickens. But as far as we know, he didn't do anything. So that's kind of strange. But it was a very beautiful bobcat. So once again, I'm mitering the corners. And I do definitely, oops, I'm taking that glue off again right before I do it, which makes a mess on my fingers, unfortunately. I should have like a paper towel or something to wipe it off on. Anyway, I do like putting the glue on the fabric. We'll call it a tag, and it's not really a tag. I don't know, flap. The part you glue down. Did I not put glue on that? Isn't sticking, so I don't know. when we see each other next day, pretty sure I am going to have an additional light, because especially if I film this time of day, this just isn't working. So let's see. Come on. There we go. You can see this here over the edge. I'm gonna have to trim that a little bit more to miter that corner. And I'm not gonna keep that piece. Oh, it looks like we moved. Uh-oh, we moved way too much. Quickly, before you stick, get off my envelope. Now, I probably shouldn't have mitered that. Somehow we pulled this over. To where there wasn't really anything to glue. Now, I don't know, my glue is up further. So you want to watch that. You don't want to somehow tug your fabric over to the other side, because it's not a good thing, especially when it leaves you with not enough to wrap your envelope with. That glued down. Get my fingers glued to the string. Okay. Check how that looks. I like these small prints. They add interest, but they're not too busy. Might see about getting some lace or something to make pockets for the future for the cover. I just don't have access to that right now. Plenty of more covers to make though in the future. Okay, fold this in good. Seal that corner. This corner looks like it needs tucked up a little bit. Hope we didn't leave that one exposed. Nope, that looks okay. Okay, so we'll put on some glue here. If we can get it to come out. It's not coming out yet. And it's really just enough to secure it. So do we have an up and down we want on this? For some reason it says this to me. This also goes both directions. Seems like the grasshoppers go the opposite of the butterflies, but I kind of think I want this and this side to be the cover. Okay, seal that together. I think that's half of them, but I need to hurry if I'm going to be done. Okay, our next one is one of our red, white, and blue ones. I'm doing several. This is red roses and plaid. So let's do this part. We'll just go ahead and wrap. keep trying to get my thread off my handle, like it's, I mean my fabric, like it's stuck there, but it's there for a reason. Turn this straight. Actually, this is a little long. Let's, I'm not going to be able to get that off very easily. Guess we'll cut. Waste not, want not, and it's just, you know, more bulk in there. Okay. It's still lined up the way we want. Looks like it. In this corner. Each of these red, white, and blue ones I'm doing, there are 5 of them. That's why I've been making a lot of red, white, and blue ephemera. They're all very different, as you'll see with the covers. Kind of take on a different personality. Okay, let's see if we can get this to squirt some glue. For some reason these rose petals remind me of the hydrangea just because of the lots of petals and look like hydrangea blooms, but I know they're not, they're rose petals. Okay, make sure this is snug. Sometimes I try to cut these out to get the images where I wanted them. That really was not putting down much glue, if any. And sometimes I just randomly cut them and they came out however they came out. And I don't know which I did with this. I do like this fabric though, it's different. Pretty blue sky and red flowers, and then the blue and white stars pattern on the pots. Kind of reminds me of a hominess. Okay. This a little tighter. Okay, and it's got the addition of the green, which is different. Tuck this one up a little bit. I do have some slow stitched covers that I've been working on, and one journal in particular that I'll share hopefully in the near future too. I just wanted to get these started first. So obviously that will be the cover when you're looking at it upright, plus it centers our bouquet. Okay, and then this one, I don't know that it has a right or a wrong. It's kind of a homespun plaid. Fringes very nicely, but we're going to wrap it around. Okay. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it with all of these, or I'm going to be here more than an hour, and I hate to keep you more than an hour, and it's really doing the same thing over and over again. So like I said, I can show you these when they're done. So I think we'll just finish this one and then we'll call it a day with you. Somehow we're getting this kind of crooked. Be nice if the plaid was more great. Kind of is. Okay, come out. I'll show you the other fabrics and then I'll let you go. So, put this one on. I find pushing on the glue makes it more securely stuck down. Okay. Oops. Side, our last side. Oops. Okay, I want to tuck this in a little bit, get it to stick down. We need to tuck this one in. Oops. And get it stuck down. And glue them together. Knock off our globs of glue. And I don't know that this matters in any way. I don't know. Sometimes they just speak to me which way they want to go. Okay, so there's that one. So we've glued this one and this insect one. We've glued our winter snow sparkly star one. We've glued our fall with our red swirlies. We've glued our yarn for our cat journal with this color on the back. And we've glued the purple on the inside with this, which will be fringed around the edge. And the ones that I didn't yet glue but will, and I'll show you, are this flag one with this blue on the back, this Washington DC buildings with stars and some stripes, and a solid navy on the back. This one with, come on, this is a red work, I guess they call it, I'm not sure, or it's just a red and white. It says best friends, and that, and then this is kind of a outer space, okay, they call it galaxy print, red and white galaxy print. So that one's red and white, and then this one has that same galaxy print, but the outside is a rainbow of colors with, once again, USA symbols, the flag, the Liberty Bell, the Eagles, the Statue of Liberty, the Capitol building, kind of like in they're postage stamps. And so that's the other one. So all these I will get sewed up and show when we go to do our signatures. Thank you for joining me. This is Peggy from the Pearl Forest, and I look forward to seeing you in a upcoming video in the near future. Thank you.